What's up, everyone? My last video was on barrack slaves, so now I'm going to give you a video about my AIT experience. And the reason why I say it's my AIT experience is because others just have different AIT experiences. I know tons of people that had different experiences, but I'm just going to tell you how mine is. So it's short, simple, and to the point, so you can kind of get an idea of how it is. And it's kind of always changing now. They're starting to become more strict about AIT in some sense. So I'll just tell you about mine. Alright, so I went to Fort Lee, Virginia, and the day after graduation, you say bye to your family and everything, and then um, they load up the buses the next day for you to go to your AIT location. Now, I went to basic in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, so everything in the east Mississippi, we drove on a bus to our AIT location. Your parents can drive you to your AIT location if your AIT location is east of the Mississippi. If you go to like Fort Jackson, or if you go to like Fort Sill, Oklahoma, or something like that, I really don't know what the rule is for that. I don't know if your parents can drive you if it's on the, on the same side of the Mississippi. But for us, like say if you were in the basic at Fort Jackson or something like that, or Fort Benning, your parents could drive you up to your AIT location. But you have to let your drill sergeants know in advance. There's a certain point in time of basic training when they ask you whose parents are doing it and whose aren't. And if you don't do it by a certain point, you're kind of screwed because it's for them to know, and your name has to be on that list for the government vehicle, GOV, which in this case is the bus to take you up to your AIT location. I just thought it was a lot easier, to take the GOV, the bus, up to my AIT location, just because I'm from Rhode Island. I'm not gonna have my parents drive all the way down to South Carolina just to drop me off in Virginia. They can just fly it to South Carolina, fly home. Unless you live in the area of where your AIT location is, then it's kind of convenient for you to do that. But I arrived at my AIT location on, it was Thursday or Friday. I think it was Friday. So it's kind of like basic training. When you arrive, you go to the reception area, except when you get to AIT, they call it HHC. And then HHC is in processing you into AIT. Basically, you are out processed from your basic training location, so now you're being in process to your AIT location, and so you're stuck there for the weekend. Basically, you go to your AIT location Sunday or Monday, depending. There was a few holdovers, because if they don't have enough people for your MOS right away, you could be held up for a while. I know people that were there for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. I know holdovers that were there for a long time. You don't want to be one of those holdovers. You just want to get it over with real quick. Luckily, we had enough kids in our class to start right away, so we got to lead the reception battalion, because the rule is like, if you don't have enough people or you don't have the class open, then you have to stay at the reception battalion until the class is open. So that's just one thing to keep in mind when you're going to AIT. Just, everyone used to go around asking everyone about what the MOS was, hoping that they would be in the same class as them and stuff like that. A lot of people that they went to basic with, people that they met at HHC. So we got to our company, and it definitely was not what we expected it was. It was a lot more lively than basic training. And it was, I like to use the analogy, it was kind of like stomp the yard. They put a lot more rhythm into their cadences. They were a lot more energetic about everything. And it was coming from basic training. It was like, you're kind of like all grumpy about it and stuff like that. Instead of drill sergeants, they have people in charge of you that they call platoon sergeants. And what a platoon sergeant is kind of someone that's focused in the area or the same exact MOS as you. That you're going through. So if you have any questions, you can ask them. For the most part, there are a lot of sergeant first classes. There's a couple staff sergeants, but they're usually all E7s for the most part. So they have multiple stories about their jobs if you ask them, questions and stuff like that. And then the way that our schedule worked when I was in AIT was that we went Monday through Friday for school. We went from 7:30 till about like noonish, and then we had like an hour or so for lunch break. Went back until like 3:30. Went back to the company area. It was supposed to be PT right then. In AIT, most of the people just did PT in the morning, so they woke up like 3 o'clock and did PT, whereas we woke up at like 4 or 4:30, somewhere around there, and then they were supposed to have PT in the afternoon. They were trying to switch it over because when I went in October, so they were trying to get into the winter time. They figured it'd be too cold to PT at 3 o'clock in the morning, so they wanted to do PT in the afternoon, which didn't really work out that well. So unfortunately, we didn't get to really PT that much in AIT, which I didn't like because I loved the PT, and especially after basic. So yeah, most of the people though, they all PT'd in the morning, and then we did that Monday. It was supposed to do that Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and on Wednesday they had what they call warrior tasks and battle drills. Do all types of stuff like simulated convoy live fire and the Humvee rollover, and just getting ready for the field. My AIT length was 6 weeks. I had a short at AIT. It was 88 November School, Transportation Manager Coordinator. Just went over a couple things about transportation and how to use a certain program, stuff like that. But yeah, we went out to the field for 3 days while we was in AIT. Obviously no shower or anything like that, but we stayed in a bigger tent than basic training. For basic training, some people dig foxholes and sleep in them. Some people, everyone has a different story about how they slept in basic. We had a small tent in basic, but in AIT when we stayed in the field, we had this big tent. It was it was a big tent. It felt like basically almost, or if not the whole class in there. Obviously males and females were separated because we had females in our AIT location as well. So males slept in one tent and females slept somewhere else. We also went with another class. So we went with the class that was a week behind us to graduate. And I don't know, my AIT experience, I thought it sucked. Honestly, I thought it was like worse than basic. People just not really, I don't know how to explain it. It just felt like instead of them physically punishing you, like, oh, do push-ups, it's kind of like more mentally than anything else. You have a little more freedom, but not really. We had our cell phones with us, but we only used them at night, like for an hour in personal time to call our parents. We weren't allowed to take our phones with us to class or anything like that, for obvious reasons. Sometimes a couple kids got caught, so they would search the whole class. But I mean, it was definitely a lot more mentally punishing than physically punishing in AIT. I could take the physical punishing. I don't, but the mentally punishing just sucked. There was a couple times, we had a couple moments. We had a couple inspections and everything had to be perfect to the T, like to the T, like wrinkles that are just natural wrinkles, like automatic fail. But they're obviously trying to set you up for success, but at the time you're like, just get me out of here. Everyone has the different opinion about it, but like, I don't know, like instead of like failing an inspection and like getting smoked for like 5 hours, you don't get a pass on the weekend or something like that. You end up staying in and cleaning all weekend, and just like over the stupidest stuff. Even if it wasn't your fault, it was kind of like mass punishment. Even though they said it wasn't mass punishment, it is. I mean, I don't know. That's just how it was in my experience. A lot of people have their own experiences about how AIT was. AIT and basic was blown up to be this huge thing where you had so much more freedom, and it's kind of like college, and it really wasn't like for me, at least. Maybe it's because my AIT time was so short. I can't really tell you how it is if you're going for a longer period of time. Like I said, everyone has their different views. Everyone has a different experiences. Depends on what company you have. Depends on where you go for AIT. You know, um, with the passes, people couldn't go on pass for the first couple of weeks. You had to go into phase 5 because there's basic training. There's white phase, blue phase, red phase, white phase, blue phase, and in AIT there's gold phase, some other phase. I don't know, phase 4 and phase 5. It's your 4th and 5th phase. So once you get into phase 5, you're allowed to then go on pass for the weekend. It starts off as ACUs on post, ASUs on post, which is Army Service Uniform, kind of like dress blues, civilian clothes on post, and civilian clothes off post, and that's how we had it. Since our AIT time was so short, we were on pass by like the 2nd week, but people were normally not on pass until like the 4th or 5th week, which sucks. But the AIT location was obviously a lot longer too, so they had more chances to go on pass and stuff like that. And we would go on pass from like around like 1 o'clock to like 10 o'clock at night. So it was pretty cool then. So when we actually got to go on pass, some people get their passes taken away for some reasons. I don't know, I would just, when I would think of AIT for you guys, I would just think of kind of like basic with a little more freedom. I wouldn't really think of something like college or anything like that, just because it's really not like that. They're starting to become more strict for obvious reasons. I mean, you're still in training. You can't drive. Well, my experience, you can't drive. You can't get in the car with people unless it's a government vehicle. The same rules still apply as basic training. We had our phones, but only at night. Sometimes by that I didn't even want to use my phone. I just wanted to relax or something like that, And that was just me, because I was just I was so used to not having a phone at basic. I didn't really care about having it at AIT. I was still used to, phoneless and what I would do if I didn't have a phone. So, I mean, that was my AIT experience. I'm liking the questions that you guys have for me. I try checking my account at least once a day, if not more, to answer your questions that you have for me. Try to make this video as simple as I could. But if you have any questions about, how my experience was, if you have any questions about how it would be, I'll try answering it to the best of my abilities. But my next video I plan on coming out with is life after initial entry training. I know I got a few questions about that. So, I mean, I'll tell everyone I'm not active duty, I'm a reserve. So I'll try telling you my experiences, and I'll tell you how it seems as other people's experiences as active duty. So that's about it. I mean, if you have any questions, just feel free to message me, feel free to comment on my videos. But I'll make another video soon about life after initial entry training. You got any more video ideas and topics, just let me know, because I know a couple of you guys wanted me to make more videos. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.